Hi guys, today I'm gonna show you how you can use PHP code directly to declare instances in Mouf. So the first question you might ask is why? Why would I want to use PHP code when I have a nice UI that enables me to drag and drop instances in Mouf? Well, the truth is that you cannot always use the standard Mouf user interface to create instances for a number of reasons. For instances, Mouf expects you to have annotations in your code with the type clearly set. It's not always true, or you might. It also expects the constructor to be public and not private or protected. It also expects setters to start with set, and if your code is not designed like that, well, you won't be able to use the Mouf UI. Of course, it's easy to fix your code, but it's much more difficult to fix a third-party library's code because you don't always have commit rights or stuff like that. So for all those cases, we need a fallback mechanism. This fallback mechanism will be using PHP code directly because it's the most powerful thing we can get actually. So I'll give you a real-life example. In this example, we're going to use Doctrine, the DBAL, the database abstraction layer, and Doctrine ORM, and we're going to create instances of Doctrine in Mouf using PHP code. So let's have a look. First of all, I will start by the composer.json. As you can see in my test project, I've got Doctrine and I've got Mouf, and that's it. So very simple. In the Mouf UI, I already created an event manager and a Doctrine configuration, and now I'm going to create a DBAL connection. So this represents a connection to the database. So I'm creating a new instance. I'm gonna call it connection. I'm gonna select the class. So it's a connection class, this one, create. And here I'm in the usual Mouf UI, so I can find a driver for MySQL. So wait, all the classes have the same name, but the one I'm looking for is not this one, maybe yes, this one, MySQL E. Great, good. And I need an event manager. This one is already created. And to get a connection, I need to pass a number of parameters. And there, I've got a problem. As you can see here, there is the type of the parameters is array. And when I click on it, I can't do anything with an array in Mouf because I don't know an array of what. If I have a look at the code for the connection class, in the constructor here, you can see that params is an array and an array, and that's it. Of course, if I put just this, that would fix my problem. But the fact is that I'm using Doctrine and I don't want to change Doctrine's code. So instead of doing this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use PHP code to put the value of the params argument of the constructor. Here, I have a use PHP code section. I can click on it. And here, as you can see, I'm in a callback. So I can type any PHP. I even have syntax error highlighting. Pretty nice. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to return, well, I'm expecting an array, so let's go for it. Well, I don't know what to put in the array, but I'm going to have a look at the Doctrine DBAL configuration. And in this documentation, I've got everything I need to put. So here we go. Of course, I would need to put some details here about the connection, and if I was in a real application, I would certainly use constants instead of directly putting the configuration into the Mouf components because it's not a good way of doing things, but that's just for the demo. So here we go. I have my PHP that is directly inputted into the constructor arguments. So that's a first level of answer to the problem we had about the array. Now let's have a look at what we can do with the ORM part. Doctrine is using an object called the entity manager. If you've already been using Doctrine, you certainly know the entity manager. And the problem is that if I want to create a new instance here, and I'm looking for an entity manager, the truth is I can't find the class. Still the class exists. If I'm looking at the code here, in the entity manager, and I'm looking for the constructor, my problem is that the constructor is protected. So obviously I can do a new entity manager, and this is what Mouf is doing. So Mouf does not allow me to create an entity manager directly. But the entity manager has a create method. It must be somewhere around here. Just wait. Here we go. And this create method that is static returns my entity manager. So basically, to get an instance of an entity manager, I have to use the create method that takes in parameter a connection, configuration, and an event manager. So how am I going to get an instance of this? Well, it's pretty easy actually. What I'm gonna do is, instead of creating an entity manager, I'm going to create a new instance by PHP code. Here, I'm gonna call my instance entity manager. I'm gonna create it. And here we go. Just like with the properties, I have a PHP function, and I can type almost anything. So let's go. Return. I must always use the return keyword, of course. Entity manager create. So if I click on save, oh, I'm getting an error. Entity manager is not found. Of course, I forgot the namespace. So as you can see, as I type, each time I save, I'm getting the error because Mouf is trying to get an instance and returning me any error we can get. You can also use the Ctrl S shortcut to save. Okay, so here Mouf is telling me that missing argument 1 for entity manager create. Indeed, I must pass an instance of the connection. And how can I get this instance of the connection? Well, look, my callback here is being passed the container. So basically, I can, using the get method of the container, get my connection. By the way, the container is the Mouf manager object, but it's assumed only to be container interrupt, a container interface actually, and this is because this will allow us later in the life of Mouf to integrate Mouf with other DI containers like Pimple, like Symfony2, or stuff like that. So I pass the container. If I save, I'm gonna have another error. Well, obviously I need the configuration, so I'm gonna continue. Container get. So it's the second one is the configuration, and the last one is the event dispatcher, if I remember correctly. Let's have a look. Saving. No, it's not event dispatcher. Sorry, I just can't remember. So let's have a look. View declared instances. Event manager. Back into my entity manager. Event manager. I'm saving, and here I am. I've got an instance, and the type of the instance is well detected by Mouf. Mouf detects automatically that this function is returning an entity manager. So I will be able to drag and drop my entity manager later in other instances. So basically, that's pretty much it. And by using PHP code directly into Mouf, you can see that you can instantiate absolutely anything. So as a conclusion, well, this is a very powerful mechanism. You can do pretty much everything. It's also maybe sometimes too powerful, so please use it sparingly. Avoid doing things like database request inside the constructor or stuff like that. Just use it when you really can't use the web UI in order to keep your code clean and simple. And thanks for listening to me and watching me. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to send me a mail or follow me on Twitter on the Mouf Twitter account. Thank you very much, and have a good day. Bye.